Welcome to ANZ Combined Racing League's special event here at Spa Francorchamps, the Spa 2.4 Hour. I'll be your host, Neil Haynes, known as Woody Lizard in the sim world. And we are ANZCRL's first edition of the popular GT3 Spa 24-hour classic on Automobilista 2. And ANZ Combined Racing League have had a rich history running the endurance race on Xbox Project CARS2 over the last 4 years. And looking forward to bringing it here now to the PC guys on Automobilista 2. So as you can see, the race lap record held by Colonel Lloyd in a McLaren 650S GT3. And we don't see that car anymore, but obviously that was on Project Cars 2 in 2020. And previous race winners of this classic race was Shads and Cosmic Robbie when it was a driver pairing back in 2019 for our inaugural race in the Honda Acura NSX. And then it was that 2020 year where Colonel Lloyd absolutely blitzed the field in that McLaren and also smashing the lap record that will probably never be beaten, as he had those super grippy tyres that worked in his favour. 2021, it was a logical sports for the P51 Sim Sports in the Nissan GTR Nismo, and he backed that up in 2022, and he's here again for 2023 to see if he can get the three-peat. And I'm sure he will be definitely vying to try and get that 3 in a row, as we can see there. So the in-game date is on the 1st of June in 2023. Race start time will be at 4 p.m. And as we said, duration 2 hours, 25 minutes with the ×10 time progression, which will see the drivers on track for a full 24-hour transition period. It seems we're accelerating that time. We've also put accelerated fuel and tyre wear. So the drivers will have to make sure that they get that sorted out. And obviously the Spa Francorchamps circuit in Belgium is 7 kilometres with 20 turns. And we will obviously really enjoy this event. So let's head off to the track now, as we have got drivers of the bottom half just finishing off their qualifying time, as Zach 18 has just gone over the strip with a 2:19.691. So the bottom few drivers had the first 10 minutes of the qualifying session, as Pixel Boy takes it on the pole with a 2:19.196. So we're on board here with Brenny, as he's one of the last drivers of the bottom half from practice. And we'll just see how he goes here as he goes into Rivage. And the corner that they always say with no name, this left-hander, very important to get a good run, as it leads you down into this fast left-hander of Pouon. As the sun's starting to dip down on the hills here in Belgium. And Brenny's going to be the last. We're going to have all the top 10 or the top 7 drivers out on track for the last 10 minutes. And we should see some of those times maybe obviously should be challenged, with Pixel Boy at the moment with a 2:19.196. As we're looking at Brenny, as he's now making his way up through Blanchimont. His fast sweeping left-hander, where then you've got to get your braking sorted for the bus stop chicane. Got to be careful you don't get too greedy for track limits. Oh, excuse me. Coughing already, and we're not even started the race. And here we go. Can Brenny go up the order from the initial bottom half of the grid? And he does, up into third with a 2:19. So here we go. So we've got the big hitters now out. We saw Bo Kane doing a great job last night in practice. Did a 2:17.976. Fastest man in practice session 1 was John Slow with a 2:17.524. And obviously we've got Bo Kane in the number 17 Tsunami Motorsports Porsche. And that's going to look sensational out on track. So while you're watching, guys, hit us up. Let us know who you'd like to see in the race or who you're supporting, who you think may win the race. Obviously, you can put your early votes in now before you see the times for this qualifying session as we're watching Bo Kane to see what he can do in this Porsche as he comes up over Radion and down the Kemmel Straight. And no rain predicted for the race, which is a good thing. I haven't changed this. Thank you for letting us know. We missed a little bit of that end of the qualifying part of the bottom half. So hopefully you've got the screen now. And all good with the images as we're watching Bo Kane. So we're going to give the guys a 2-minute window after qualifying as well, just so they can give it a little bit of a stretch because they're going to need it. 2 hours 25. Thanks for letting us know, Average Sim Racer. Or is it Avenger Sim Racer? I don't know. Avenged. I wonder where we go. AVENGED. Avenged Sim Racing. I like Avenger. Sounds good. Avenger Sim Racer. But anyway, here we go. So we're just coming on through for the final part of this lap. He's gone through Blanchimont and he's kept to the track limits. Mr. Bo Kane in the number 17. Porsche 911 GT3R. What's he got for us? Can he get it up above Pixel Boy on his first hot lap? Yes, he does. So he's got a 2:17.8. So these ideal conditions at the moment for qualifying. And let's have a look to see what happens. Jay Barrett in the Nissan. Let's have a look at John Slow. He was the man that was fastest. And also the reigning Bathurst 12 hour. We had the GT3 cars earlier in the year running around our famous Mount Panorama. And he puts it on pole with a 2:17.440. So he's got some pace to burn here. And the man that he had a really big fight for the lead of the race, it went pretty much right through the full 2 hours and 25 minutes. We had a late storm that came with thundering through, but there was nothing separating John Slow and Gun 180. Gunner had the lead for a while, and he's now matched the time of John Slow. You would not even pick that. So the two battlers are into it again. They're going toe-to-toe like they did in Bathurst earlier in the year. As John Slow has put himself in a pit lane, he won't get another lap in now, so that's a big call. And this is the man we're looking at, VGA Philly. He is the reigning champion here of this race. He's won it the last 2 years here at ANZ Combined Racing League in this format as a 2 hours 25-minute race. And obviously the switch over onto AMS2. And VGA Philly is part of Veterans Gaming Australia. So hopefully if any of you guys out watching your driver, VGA Philly, please give us a shout out as he hits into the gravel trap. And he's not in the wall there. He could probably continue on, but I think he's going to decide to park it. And the second of the Nissans, we've got 3 Nissans. We've got Zach 18, who's qualified in 9th position at this stage in the purple Nissan. And they look good, the Nissan Nismos, GTRs. I'm sure they're going to have a bold showing throughout this race. Jay Barrett did a 218.7 last night during practice session 1. And he's coming over the strip now, and he's done a 217.5, 0.083, guys. Not that, nothing in it. He almost had pole with that Nissan, but it's this man that we're keeping an eye on now. As we bring up the map, we may have just missed the sector. As the sector, end of sector 2 into sector 3 normally is as they come out of turn 15. At the bottom of your screen, the left-hander on the track map. But here he goes. So Gunner, at the moment, equal qualifying pole position with John Slow. Will he? Yes, he does. A 217.042. So this has cost John Slow not being out. He's actually out at the moment. Fighting hard. He's got 1 minute 39. I think he may just get enough time to get one lap in. And can we see the combatants get into it as they did in Bathurst? John Slow will be one in pole position. Jay Barrett will be out for another one more lap. But as we look on board with John Slow and see how he is tracking to get through into this final lap of his qualifying session. And doesn't the visuals look sensational here in Automobilista too? See, one thing, have you got the game audio, guys? It's one thing. Let me just have a little look. There you go. You should have the game audio now, guys. I apologise that. A few little things of technical problems early on. You would have just been hearing me talk without the background of these lovely GT3 cars. So at least we're getting all these finer details done before we get into the race. And here it is, John Slow. We're going to keep an eye on him to see if he can get the pole. He's 4/10 down, and off the first sector, he's 1/10 slower. So he's got to try and dig deep. And that actual time is actually his best time too. So he's got to find a lot more. About half a second if he's going to try and find this on pole. And he's got the rear end all crossed up. So there you go. So it's Gunner. He has started off the way he would like to see with his return battle with John Slow. He wants redemption after Bathurst earlier in this year. So first strike goes to Gun 180. And we have John Slow in second. On the second row will be Jay Barrett and Bo Kane. Third will be Ashley Cucci, who we didn't actually see much of. We didn't actually see him at all, but he's in the lone BMW M6 GT3 in the 61 Schneider Sports. So he will be looking for a good start there on row 3. Alongside Dado Racer, the old statesman of the group in the Mercedes. So I think he may be the first Mercedes actually. And then VJA Philly, we've talked about him. And he's obviously alongside with Pixel Boy. And Pixel Boy is in the McLaren, the number 12 SKS Motorsports car. Zach 18, a late entry. And we're glad to have him on board. And he will be on row 5, I should say, alongside with Wadey. So those two there will be looking forward to a good run. And then in row 6, we have Pillick 43. And then Rishi got in there in 12th position. Rishi is driving for the McLaren, the 27 Shaker racing team. And then the Unicorn, he got there in 13th. They'll be on the last row alongside with Brenny. And both those hosts. The Unicorn is driving in the TSA Motorsports McLaren. So the McLarens are really dominating on the grid here. And then the Brenny is in a McLaren as well, the number 4. So a few of the McLarens down the bottom of the grid, but there's nothing stopping. We've got the Mercedes, the first Mercedes of Gun 180 on pole position, and then the McLaren of John Slow, and then Nissan, Porsche, and BMW, Mercedes, Nissan, Pixel Boy, as we said, in the McLaren, Zach 18 in the McLaren, and we had, Nissan, sorry, and then we had Wadey in the BMW. Actually, I forgot about Wadey's actually in the BMW, so there's two BMWs. Higher Logical, so he's one of the drivers. He's Mr. VGA Philly in 7th position, and we hope to see some of the Veteran Gaming Australia guys come on and support VGA Philly. And there we can see the track temperature at this time in the early evening as the sun's going down. 33 degrees, this is what the drivers will have to contend with, and it'll get darker and the track will get a little bit cooler as the ambient temperature drops. So I think we should be good to go, guys. So giving the guys a good little break, and we are a little bit behind schedule tonight by about 7 minutes. So let's kick it off. We're going to have the formation lap for the drivers. And here we go. So Gunner's there in front, and they've got the 2-minute ready up period. And the drivers will definitely want to be making sure that they get their setups, but they want to get ready up as soon as they can. They've got a long race. They want to get those nerves out of the way. They don't want to sit there for too long. They'd rather be motoring around on that formation lap. So welcome to ANZCRL Combined Racing League Spa 2.4 hour. This is the first running that ANZCRL Combined Racing League is running this event on Automobilista 2. We have run it for the past 4 years on Xbox Project CARS2. And we've had Shads with Cosmic Robbie 27 winning the inaugural race back in 2019 when we ran it as a team event where the drivers took different times of a different part of the session of the race. And then in 2020, it was an outstanding race by Colonel Lloyd, almost lapping the field, I think it was, bar one car, and also setting that lap record that we saw earlier of a 2:16.814, which is may get trouble. We don't know. We take the lap times during the race. We saw the 2:17s in qualifying, but I tell you what, that's a time that I think is going to be hard to beat, 2:16.814. And then it was VGA Philly, known as a Logical Sports, 21, 22 back-to-back victors in the Nissan GTR Nismo, and he's back again in the Nissan this year around in 2023 on the PC. So let's, I think that he will be drivers that most would like to see maybe get a hat-trick of wins here, as it's never been done before. And it will just basically show the dominance of this man here, VGA Philly, for Veterans Gaming Australia. Do a great job for mental health for a lot of the returned veterans. As VGA Philly's running off the track, you don't want to be doing that on a warm-up lap, as he's probably just trying to get a few things set up there. But let's go through the field with these great little cameras we've got here. We have obviously got Gun 180 in the 77 as Gradia McLaren in on pole position, and then it'll be this man here, John Slow, in the McLaren, the Bathurst champion, as we said earlier. And will he make it? Another GT3 victory for him in 2023. Only time will tell. A long time, actually 2 hours and 25 minutes yet to go. And this man, Jay Barrett, 27 in the Nissan. And what great colours that is. Some synonymous colours there. We all can recognise the Nissans with these liveries here. So we're going to see him on the inside of the front row for this rolling start. They're under formation at the moment. There might be some support here for Bo Kane in the first of the Porsches. And he's showing some plenty of pace. And we just hope that a lot of these drivers hope they got some running for a full fuel stint, as it's going to drop off a little bit more than usual because we got the accelerated fuel and also tyre wear. The tyres shouldn't be too much of a problem. They should be right. But the fuel will obviously maybe catch a few guys out because they might think they could push one extra lap and then find out that, hang on, no, they can't because that accelerated fuel burn. So they need to keep an eye on that. And Ashley Cucci in the first of the BMWs. What a great livery this is the 61 Schneider Sports. Probably one of the best on the grid. early in this race decision of the best livery. They're all in-game liveries, guys, nothing special. So they can all be found on in-game. But what a livery that is. And then Dado Racer. And I believe this is the car that I think he may have been in the Bathurst 12 hour. And he's obviously after some redemption there. He had some pace in the 12 hour and a few things went against him. So he will be lining up there on the outside of the front of the third row with Ashley. And then we've seen VGA Philly. Now Pixel Boy, here he is in the red McLaren. Now this looks a very strong contender there if he can keep a solid pace for the mid-pack. So he could pick up a podium at the end of this race if all things go really his way. And the Nissan of Zach 18, we've got some support for Zach 18. And he's got the third of the Nissan GTRs on this grid. And that's another fine looking livery on your screens. And then Wadey in the second of the BMWs as we're getting close to the race start. And Pillick in the Fanatec 82 Porsche. And then the 27 Shaka Racing of Rishi. And then we'll have the Unicorn all in army colours in the camo in the number 19 and Brandy in the number 4 McLaren. So here we go for race start, guys. Let's enjoy. And it looks like it is Gunner. I'll leave the map off at this stage, but Gunner's been able to get a nice little run, but John's slow as they all come on down. Bo Kane around the outside of Jay Barrett early on. They're going to have to be careful as they go side by side down the main straight running into El Rouge. Who's going to give way here? Is it going to be Jay Barrett? Jay Barrett takes it up into El Rouge and up over Radion. Bouncing around in that Mercedes. And look at Ashley Cucci diving out on this slow exit of Bo Kane. He's having a look. He's going to be on the outside. And you can make this pass on the outside here into Lecombs because you can get the inside of the next corner if you can hang it out wide. No, but Wise heads here in the early stages of this lap. So nice driving by both these drivers. Dado Racer in 6th position. Just behind these guys, under attack by VGA Philly. And we've got a few drivers. They're all filtering down fairly well. We've got Rishi. Look at them. The whole range of McLarens in the back here. We've got Rishi, the Unicorn, and Branny. And they could have their own little slot car battle throughout this 2-hour race. They all running roughly the similar pace, so it's all about limiting mistakes between these three drivers. They're going to have a sensational battle for 2.5 hours, just under 2.5. And we won't forget about Pillick in the Porsche as well, so he'll be ready to solidify that top 10 if he can get himself within striking distance of Wadey. But back up front here, as we coming up to finish the first lap, it's this man, Gun 180 in the number 77, Mercedes AMG, Esgradia, and it looks like John's slow. He's under a lot of pressure, under attack actually from Jay Barrett. It's always good to get that first lap out of the way, and especially when you're in front, so Gunner's done that. And he looks up in to see how much longer in the race in a 2 hours, 22 minutes. So we don't envy these drivers, but I tell you what, you get the little bit of a sensation that you'd like to give it a try. ANZCRL is a place to be for your long endurance races. We run 8 special events throughout each calendar year, ranging from different classes of cars. So make sure you check our link on the Twitch channel that you're watching. There will be a link to our webpage. You can have a little look and have a little browse at your own leisure. And obviously we're open for all you Australian, New Zealand sim racers to keep the connections pretty solid in these longer races. And Bo Kane is starting to just sweat around the brows a little bit as Ashley's just showing his nose at the BMW. Obviously a car you will not be able to miss in your mirrors with the striking orange and white front end of this BMW. And it's interesting to see the drivers that are actually looking to run their headlights and others aren't at the moment. As I just saw in the background as they come out of the corner of No Name and through now Puon, that this man here, Wadey, is looking to make a move on Pixel Boy. You can almost say Pixel Boy is in a Ferrari-inspired McLaren with this colour. It's almost Ferrari red. It would almost be a copyright claim by the Ferrari teams if there was a Ferrari in the game. Wouldn't that be lovely to have the Ferrari GT3 car in? As Pixel Boy is up into 8th position. I'm not too sure. One of the drivers, the Zach 18, dropping out. Bit of a position change there. Not too sure. But Zach 18 is in the 10th position. Now the use of the in-game safety car is enabled as well in the settings. It'll be interesting to see if we actually see any of the safety car during this event. We're hoping to have a bit bigger field. We've only got the 14 cars. We had initially 16 sign up to. We're unable to make tonight at the last minute, unfortunately. But still good number of 14. This is what we used to run on Xbox Project Cars 2. So there's quite a few drivers. There's Jay Barrett is one that's been used to fields of 14 the previous years. And he's just in front of Bo Kane at this stage. This is a very tasty battle. I think it's time that we just find ourselves maybe the view inside the cockpit of this BMW of Ashley. And enjoy a second part of a lap. So enjoy, guys. As looks like just there we had a problem with Bo Kane. He's trying to pull up on the Porsche in this defence, but he's been able to get through the bus stop there. But it's Ashley Cucci down the inside for turn 1 at La Source. And up into 4th position goes Ashley in the BMW. And Dado Racer just lurking behind, enjoying his view. Oh, was that someone running wide then? No, I think they've all got through there. Maybe it was Dado Racer. Oh, Pixel Boy is doing a great job. Actually, yes, we were just picking up that he's a driver that can really nudge this mid-pack, and he's sort of leading. That's all the mid-pack would be this around this 8. We sort of separated the practice with the top 7 and then the bottom 7. So he's really is leading this mid-pack of the bottom half. So he's having a good battle with Wadey in the BMW. And it's good to see these two locked in a great battle in on lap 4 of this race. the lap wise, we're probably looking, I'm trying to think, maybe around about 60 laps of this race, roughly, for the 2 hours 25 minutes. Something around there anyway, maybe just under 60 laps. So settle yourselves in with a nice cup of tea and maybe come back if you don't want to stay for the whole time. Mark your clocks to maybe come out at least in the next 2 hours, because we always say endurance races, they always start to come alive that last 20 minutes, 15 minutes, when you start seeing those strategies that have played out. Does anyone need another splash and dash? And look at this little battle, as we said here, of these slot cars, of these McLarens. They look like a set of cars going toe-to-toe around the track here of the Unicorn and Brenny. At the moment, it's the camo livery inspired of the Unicorn in position 12, having the better of Brenny. And this is what ANZCRL is all about, and organised leagues all around the world, is having these respectful drivers be able to race in all types of levels. So you can see these drivers not as fast as the faster drivers, are doing 218s, and these drivers are around the 225 mark. So you're looking around about seven seconds or so slower than the leading pack, but they're doing good, so that's the main thing. But back up front, this man here is doing a terrific job, Mr. John Slow. I mean, Gun 180, sorry. My eyes are playing already little tricks on me. And let's bring up the map there so you can sort of see what's going on with the drivers. Rishi Silva obviously had a moment, a few laps, or even that one at 2:34, that previous lap. So he's obviously made a bit of a mistake. And he's just coming on up, down through the Camel Straight, as these drivers now are going around through into Stavelot. There's Gunner. He's up on his best time of this race so far in the second sector. So we'll keep it on Gun 180 to see how he progresses through in the final sector, if he can keep this up. Obviously the times will drop further during this race. The track will start to rubber up, convert over from probably medium rubber to heavy rubber with the live track. And it's very important that the drivers stay on the racing line once it comes a heavy rubber state on track. You start running offline a little bit, as Gunner has just done a 218.2 as Jay Barrett. And Ashley Kutcher in the BMW just behind these two. It was actually the fastest man that previous lap with a 218.191. So that BMW was very slow to get. So actually Ashley was fairly quick to pick the BMW. And it's showing some early pace in this race at the moment. And I'm sure that will also excite John Wade. He's in 9th position, fighting out with Pixel Boy, but knowing that the BMW is doing good up here up front, and could it only be a matter of time that we see him in the top 3, as he's really putting a lot of pressure on this Nissan of Jay Barrett. Oh, so close. That was really on the anchors there, and this is where sometimes those little mistakes can happen when you start to push. And obviously these drivers will do everything if they can to try and avoid the other car. And we know what can happen sometimes when you're hard on the brakes on corner entry. You can lose the rear end if the brake bias is a little bit to the rear. Obviously drivers like to run a little bit of brake bias to the rear. It helps the rotation of the car to get into the corners. It is the faster way, but obviously if you start putting on more brake pressure at the same time when you're trying to pull it up because you're trying to avoid something, it can actually catch you out as well at the same time. So, not much has changed from the qualifying. Had a little bit in the back part of the grid. While you're watching, guys, if you've seen a livery that you think is pretty good, last race before, these are special events. Average sim racer, Avenger sim racer. So they're not part of any seasons, but there is a season coming up that will be our final season for the year, which is the V8 Supercars. And that's scheduled to start on the 10th of September. So make sure you lock those ones in and have a look at ourselves over on our website. But we've also got, during that time of once the V8 Supercars start. So yes, to answer your question, you are right. This is the last race we are having with ANZCRL as we have a little break before the next commencement of our series after we just finished the Porsche Carrera Cup. And the man that won that was this man here, Gun 180. And he was unstoppable in the Porsche Carrera Cup. He was in the 4.0 Pro class. And we also ran the 3.8 Cup car, which was for the AM drivers. And that was won by Cuckoo, who's not here tonight. Gunner's doing a good job here. Solid out front, just extending, well, not really extending, just maintaining his gap to John Slow, probably managing a little bit of his tyres, and the fuel burn at the same time. So the other driver that did well for the race was also this man, Dado Racer. Just got pipped in the end for second. He finished in third in the pro class of the Porsche Carrera Cup. And we've got a few of the Porsche Carrera Cup guys. Zach 18, we saw him finishing really strong in the end. He had actually a really solid season. Got a couple of thirds and he got a second as well on the penultimate round at Snetterton. And he finished fourth in that championship in the pro division. And really good run by Zach 18. And if a few other things went his way, he definitely could have been up probably in that top three through that season. And then in the AM division, we've got Ashley Cucci, who's obviously in this this little hunt that we're seeing here in this BMW, as he's still one of the faster drivers in this little pack. Yeah, it's great to have you as wildcarding Kempo as well, mate, in that Porsche Carrera Cup. Look forward to seeing some more action in the V8 Supercars when we come. But the next special event, as we said, is in September. And we can't wait to bring that one as well. But we'll give you more information about that later on during this race. But at this stage, it's really looking like Ashley wants to get this hurry up, get a move on. So as much as Jay Barrett would be wanting to hold on to this third position, knowing that he's got a chance to make a move on John Slow if he slips up in any way, it might be wise just to let Ashley through, just so you can just sort of see, well, what can Ashley do? Can he open up the door for Barrett to make a move also on John Slow to follow Ashley through? So that's definitely look like Ashley's got the pace to trouble John, where Barrett just seems to be happy just to be where he is, but he's also defending at the same time, which could be costing him a little bit of time. Jay Barrett is a very seasoned driver though. He knows to keep his eyes forward. He'll be blocking out a lot of that movement by Ashley. This is where I just plead that Automobilista 2 can just come up with some some figures where we can see when we're doing the broadcast. Oh, look, here we go. There's Ashley running very wide, but being able to pull it up there at the bus stop. So he was late on the brakes, as we saw. Also, Dado Racer making a move with Bo Kane, and he's vulnerable to VGA Philly as well. And VGA Philly looks like, no, he hasn't got the momentum to try and trouble Bo. And the golden glow of both these cars are outstanding at this point of the evening as the sun's going down. And Bo really came on to, we haven't seen much of Bo, and he came like a tsunami, as we said, on Friday night, last night, during the free practice session 1. And was topping the timesheets for most of that time until John Slow was able to just get him by half a second, just under half a second actually, to take the top spot. But Bo was second. We can just see that setting sun now just starting to shine in the driver's eyes. So the track's not too bad with the sun glare. It might be more so in the morning. Drivers have got the freedom to be able to have that little bit of the banner in front on the top part of their windshield. It blocks out a little bit of that glare, otherwise it would be pretty tough. But as we said, I've already said the visuals here on Automobilista 2, just outstanding. The immersion that you can get as a sim racer is just outstanding. The sun reflection off the road and off the curbing. It is a very great title to enjoy that type of racing. Immersion in what you like. This game can be your little outlet to enjoy a bit of sim racing. We can just have a look here as VGA Philly coming on down the inside now at the bus stop, giving a little bit of room, being respectful. As you can see, Bo Kane knows exactly that he can defend that bus stop fairly well. It's a hard spot to make that pass. Got to really be alongside that car probably before you even hit the brakes. VGA Philly was pretty close to that, but just not quite there. Geez, you know, he's got his headlights on. Look, he's got almost like a landing strip in front of him. That'll be almost distracting with all those yellow lights, but he's going to have to get used to it because it is getting dark now. And he's going to have to put up with this now for probably roughly another 45 minutes to an hour. The good thing about it, their days are long, nights are short this time of year, their summer period here in Belgium, as VGA Philly moves himself up into 6th position. So it's taken him 10 laps to get a position. So this is how tight this competition is here at ANZCRL. And he started 7th and now finds himself up into 6th place for Veteran Gaming Australia, hence VGA. So we can hear the cheers from the veterans cheering him on the 205 Nissan GTR. And he finds himself 11 seconds off the lead. But that's only a number at this stage of the race. The main thing is you're still moving, you're still on the same lap. And while you're there on the same lap, anything can happen. As we said, we have got the safety car, the Camaro, sitting there in pit lane in case anything happens, but it has to trigger during the game. So it's not user triggered, unfortunately. It'd be great if being a race director like I am here at this stage of this race, broadcasting this to you fine people out there. It'd be great if I notice an incident or something comes through as a message to me that I can know that I can initiate the safety car. as well as the game do it itself, but if we could override it, would be a good little feature. As Jay Barrett gets the old tank slapper on exit, as still finds himself in third, and you can just see this battle has slowly wearing these drivers out, and John Slow has been able to now get a nice little 2-second gap. So John Slow will be enjoying this little breath of fresh air. And he's in the centrifugal racing team McLaren. And he's looking forward to maybe setting himself up. This is what he did at Bathurst actually. He sort of hung back a little bit as well from memory. And pulled on the pressure. But those, Gunner and John Slow, to be fair, there wasn't much in between them the whole race. And in endurance scheme of things, 4 seconds, even 5 seconds, is still close. And all the headlights now should be on most of these cars as we have this little battle still going on with Pillick 43. If we pick him up as he's coming on down, oh, the timing's a little bit out. Looks like he was only a second in front of Brenny, but he's 2 seconds behind Brenny at this stage. Leading that McLaren battle that we're saying at the bottom half of the grid, so well done to Brenny. He's been able to get in front of the Unicorn, which the Unicorn must have had a spin or something, because he's now dropped a good 30 seconds behind Brenny and brought Rishi into the scheme of things. So Rishi is just starting his 11th lap, I think it is. So still on the lead lap, as the leaders now are coming on to start their 12th lap. So there you go. So it's all happening along the main straight here, the starting strip, as Jay Barrett, John Slow comes through, Jay Barrett and Ashley, and then Dado slowly pegging these blokes in. He's reeling them in. He's set the long line out and slowly bringing her in like a big hard-fought prize fish. And we've got a few guys nursing a bit of a sore back from what I've been able to get told. And one of those guys is John Slow, who's obviously, as we've seen, second at the moment in this race. And you'd probably say nearly all drivers suffer a little bit of sore backness, but just generally, John Slow is having a bit of a problem. And so is this man, Dado Racer, who just recently got a bit of cortisone injections into his back. And just hoping to get a little bit of comfort. He finds himself sitting, it's not too bad. So that's a plus. Hopefully that works for him. We know VGA Philly, he's had his battles. And keeping fit is his motto. And he is a very fit yet strapping lad. And obviously doing his best to keep his recovery well. And I'm sure this man here, Zach 18, he's another one of our statesmen. Very wise and capable sim racer. They're in 9th position in this Nissan. It's going to be hard to start to see these cars as it gets darker, especially these darker cars. But I'm sure he'll be nursing a few little age-related pains and aches and pains. They all got to pick up the Unicorn. He'll set them straight, this man. He knows a thing or two about pharmaceutical products. And he's in the, as we said, the number 90 TSA Motorsports McLaren, which I'm not too sure if we saw him running in the Bathurst 12 hour, as the Nissan's come in early, so they must be a little bit thirsty because VGA Philly's in as well. So that is interesting. So they're the first ones to come into pit lane. So they'll be dropping down the order. with this earlier pit stop. So that's sort of our cue to sort of know now that these drivers will start be looking at their fuel gauges and thinking when they may need to stop. That's it, Adventure Gamer. You know the feeling of aches and pains and everything else, my friend. But you're doing well to be able to get onto the sim rig, and we enjoy having you on board. And look forward to seeing how you progress in your sim adventure. I can say that. Oh, as the McLaren of John Slow has gone off to the corner with no name at turn 9. So we saw that as Dado Racer, I think, was coming on through. So John Slow has made a rare mistake. And is that because he was starting to think about a pit stop as well? So this is where it can get distracting. This is why these endurance type racing, it's a different beast to your normal sprint league type racing that most of us really enjoy doing. And where a lot of the races can be done within an hour or even under. But also, you've got to be fair, we've got the accelerated tyre wear turned on and the fuel. So that is obviously going to be part of an issue there, as it looks like the tail light there at the back of John Slow's car. Yes, it is. So there is damage at the back of that car. So he must have just touched that wall. So when he comes in, he will be looking for some damage repair. So here he comes. He's coming in now. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's how that accident actually did happen. He was starting to think about his pit stop and maybe pulling up his in-car display and fiddling around with a few things. It could have been setting, making sure maybe he wanted to change a strategy or something, because we've got a few cars. We've got the Unicorn in that was in earlier. He's been in there for a fair while. So the Unicorn could be getting some damage repaired as off he goes. What a view. That was right at the right time. By myself, I'll take credit to that, as he's motoring now down out of pit lane. So he resumes his race. The BMW of Wadey now up into 4th position, as Ashley's in pit lane as well. The Gunner has stayed out, as has Dado Racer, and that is a feature here that we will see, as they're both in the Mercedes-Benz, both Gun 180 and Dado Racer. So will we see one of these drivers? Will they come in? How long can they extend their lap time, their laps compared to the others that have all had to make a pit stop? The BMW of Wadey's still out, and Bo Kane as well in the Porsche. So the Porsche's got some fuel mileage as well, but we've seen already the McLarens come in and the Nissans. And this is what we love about endurance racing, guys, the fuel strategies. You can pick a fast car, but it can be equaled out with the different different strengths of the cars. Can they last longer than the others as far as fuel runs? We have seen the Merc normally fairly good on its fuel, and it looks like that Gunner's obviously going around for another lap, but Gunner's in, so is Dado. So into pit lane they come. So we've got this man in now, coming into pit lane. And as the crew work away on the cars, and we've got Dado Racer coming on into pit lane. And following him, I think he's Bo Kane. So it's all changing now as all the pit crew get to action with the work going on with these cars, as Bo Kane is also in pit lane. Oh, we went into the up into the corporate boxes there, as they're all enjoying a nice bite to eat. And we should see Gun 180 coming out of pit lane very shortly, as in comes the BMW of Wadey. I think that sounds like gun 180. Yes, it is, leaving pit lane. So off he goes. Coming out of pit lane. And let's find out where Jay Barrett is. He's coming on through now to the first corner through La Source. So there we go. He's just coming out in front of Dado Racer. And Dado Racer has made a ton of place up. So when you think about it, he had a bigger margin to Jack when Jack went into the pits. So Dado's had a great in and out lap, or Jack's just had a bad out lap, because Dado's still 10 seconds off the lead from Gunner, and that's about where he was, I think, when he pitted. So it's more likely that Jay Barrett has had a bad out lap, a few out laps while the boys were extending their run. And John Slow finds himself now right in the middle of Bo Kane in the Porsche just up the road, but it's this man VGA Philly that's just behind him, putting on some pressure. As around they go through Rivage. And what a corner this is, Puon. They've got to be careful of those track limits, extending them. As we said, there's only the 3 track limits in this whole 2 hours, 25-minute race before a drive-through penalty. And that would be very costly indeed. So some of these drivers know when they run out a little bit too wide, they need to just come off the throttle and not stay on the throttle, and you've got a better chance not to pick up the track cut warning. As VGA Philly's right on it. 0.2 seconds off his fastest lap this time around, so it's going to be a pretty solid lap by VGA Philly as they coming on now down through Blanchimont. Just a little lift, maybe just a little tether of the throttle there, just to keep the car, if you're pushing too hard, maybe if it's full throttle, it just wants to push through that corner a little bit. As VGA Philly looking comfortable there in 6th position and a lot closer to his opposition, and this is what he does. He just wears the opposition down. And it looks like that back of John Slow's car. If we jump on board here with VGA Philly as he comes on up over Radion, as one of the cars very wide there. I'm not too sure, might have been one of the back markers there. And look at the moon there coming through. Isn't that beautiful? Just take up the map and just enjoy the night scenes here in Spa. And you can see the brake light, the left-hand side of John Slow's car is all being repaired and showing up nicely. After his earlier off, he dropped from 2nd and down here in this 5th position. Came straight in for his pit stop. That's why we're suggesting it was just here that he went off. And I think it's probably where he was probably just trying to adjust things. And he's run wide, and this is opening up VGA Philly for a run down into Blanchimont. If he gets this corner right and gets a good exit, he may just be able, I mean, not into through Puon, he may be able to get through Fangs here down the right-hand side, but no, he just has to follow. It's probably better to be on the EVA roof cam at night, I'd imagine. Probably better viewing. It's very dark out there at the moment, but look at Dado Races had a moment as well, so he was only the 10 seconds off Jay Barrett. He's actually it was with Jay Barrett, but he's dropped now. And it's this man here, Bo Kane in the Porsche. Listen to the Porsche. And we may just bring up the map here because they're getting into a few bit of lap traffic now. So the guys have been running for almost 30 minutes, so the first half an hour has gone fairly fast actually. Hope you're enjoying the coverage here of our annual, well, it is our annual Spa 2.4 hour on Automobilista 2, but it's our inaugural race that we've done here, but fifth overall, fifth race here at Spa for ANZCRL after we've run the previous four events on Xbox Project CARS2. And this is what the drivers would be liking to see, these clear skies. No threatening of these storms, this rain that Spa normally brings on. We've seen many of the real life, these GT3 races where the storm clouds gather at night. As they just get past the Unicorn as he's fallen a lap down. So Bo's doing work in the back of Dado's car. At the same time, John Slow's right behind here. And has Dado, unfortunately, when he's coming through his pit stop, maybe his tyres aren't up to pressure, maybe settings were a little bit wrong. Initially he came out fast, but maybe they've obviously also the track temperatures drops as well, so they can find it a little bit harder to get that heat in the tyres. So he may find himself a little bit vulnerable during the night. We know he's fast during the daytime. And the beauty of this race is we know the night time is shorter than the daytime. So there's more daylight hours in the European summer. And the Porsche is pretty much flat out by the look of it through Blanchimont. And look at this, a four-way battle for position 3. Thank you very much on a Saturday evening, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy this from ANZCRL. The best that we've got here of ANZ on Automobilista 2 are out here at Spa. We've got Gun 180 leading this race. Jay Barrett finds himself in no man's land in second position. Not a bad place to be in no man's land though, but he's 9 seconds, roughly 10 seconds behind Gunner, and he's up the road 7 seconds from this lot. So what a place it is for Jay Barrett. But look at this is heating up as VGA Philly's finding his muscle, and here comes John Slow down the inside. Will he make this stick? He's coming into the Lacombe. Yes, he has. So Bo didn't want to fight that at this stage. But now VGA Phillies, the man's trying to take advantage of Bo Kane's little bit of probably stressful moment after a big move by John Slow. And sometimes you can leave yourself a little bit vulnerable. So VGA Philly knows all about that. So he was trying to pile that pressure on. But Bo looks like he has now been able to calm those nerves and settle down. And John Slow just getting a little bit of a wiggle as he turned into poo on there on the initial turning point with that McLaren. And look at VGA Philly down the inside. Got a nice exit. So I think Bo Kane's just playing the wise game and thinking, hey, you guys are going nuts. I think it's time to just let you guys fight it out for a three-way battle, and I'll just hold back here. I'll be happy here. And just wait to come back onto the scene as the daylight hours start to shine back through. What a great couple of laps we just saw then. We love bringing these special events. Generally we run 4 to 5 series through the year, as this 2023 is our first year on Automobilista 2 for series racing, and we run on Sunday nights from 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And as we said, 10th of September is when we will start our V8 Supercars. And that's going to be a mixture of some sprint rounds, ultra sprint rounds, one-off races, endurance races. We've got the Bathurst 1000 coming up, which is going to be round 3 part of that. The full 1000, so 161 laps broken into 4 sessions. So don't go, oh no, we've got to sit there for 6 hours in the car. No, you don't. We're going to break it up in 4 sessions of 40 laps, and for 3 sessions, and the final session 41 laps. So if you do your maths, that's 161 laps. And that gives us the opportunity to have driver swaps in a different, unique ANZCRL way, as John Slow's having a move on Dado Racer. Cuts my conversation of the Bathurst 1000 short. But yeah, we basically have, at the end of each 40 laps, we basically base it on. And John Slow's around. Is he off the wall? No, he's gone into the wall as well. So he's done that all on his own, Mr. Slow. And he doesn't like this part of the circuit. He's going to be angry at himself here. But level heads will get him back in the race here, as he gives the old flash of the light. He knows he's got to get his concentration back again. And he was making a move on this man, Dado Racer. And hopefully he didn't pick up too much damage and he can nurse his car around to his next scheduled stop, Mr. Slow. And at this stage here, we've got Gunner. We haven't seen much of him, but he's out in front at the moment in the first of the Mercedes. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the Spa 2.4 hour, the annual Endurance GT3 race here at ANZCRL. And we're on board Gun 180, who is the Bathurst 12-hour champion earlier in the year in this same car as well. So he is starting this race. They've been going now for around about 40 minutes, just over. And he's finding himself in very familiar position. And he's just hot off the heels of a Porsche Carrera Cup Championship here at ANZCRL. And over at Gravel Trap Legends, our fellow league members here for for Australian New Zealand sim races, the Gravel Trap Legends, he was unlucky not to take out the first round of their Masters of Endurance series at Monza, featuring the P1 cars. After his dodgy internet caused him a few dramas on the last lap and he lost the lead, but still came home in second position. So make sure you keep an eye out for Gravel Trap Legends if you're Australian New Zealand sim racers. On Automobilista 2, you want to hit them up. For all your Monday and Wednesday night league racing. Jay Barrett did a 218.9. Geez, the Nissan, he's in the Nissan. The Nissan is so much quieter, isn't it, than the Mercedes. Probably one of the quietest cars out on the grid. And he's in the familiar Nissan livery colours. The Nissan Driver Academy. It's out in the cinemas at the moment, the Gran Turismo movie. Anyone seen that? I'm pretty sure it's out in the cinemas. If you've seen it, let us know. Is it any good? Or if it's not out on cinemas, I'm not one that really keeps up to speed with the cinemas and the movies. But if you've seen it, or it's not out, you can't see it, but are you going to go and see it? Let us know. Get on there. Give me a little hello. We're having a look. Let's have a look back down the order a bit. We've got Pillick, who's leading the little McLaren train that's behind him. That was behind him, I should say, of Brenny, Rishi, and the Unicorn. Now, this is something just to show. Rishi has been at the back of the grid for some time. After he made a mistake somewhere, had a little spin, fell off the back of following these guys that are in front of him. And he's just been motoring along and finds himself now in 13th position. And 6 seconds up the road actually from the Unicorn. Oh, nice one, Mitch. Yeah, I reckon it's going to be not a bad movie at all. So hopefully when you do go and see it, you enjoy it, and make sure you get loaded up with some popcorn Your soft drink of choice, or are you rather one of those choc tops? You're a choc top or popcorn, or you're a Maltesers man when you go to the movies. As we just see Wadey come on through, putting a lap on the Unicorn. So the BMW of Wadey, not as fast at the moment as Ashley. Ashley's doing a 2.19s, keeping up with all the front runners. The 18s came out of Gunner and also VGA Philly that time around. And here we go. So Dado Racer under fire again. So will we see VGA Philly up into the top 3 at the hour and a half minute mark to go? Hour and 35 mark to go. Lap 21. And we're predicting about 60 laps, 59 to 60 laps. If we don't get the intervention of the safety car that's sitting there on the grid in 15th position. But it's this man, VGA Philly, in the very silent Nissan GTR. Seeing if he can have a move on Dado. He's been strong through here onto the bus stop chicane, but Dado's, the rear brakes were squealing there. Limit of grip on the back of those tyres from Dado. And down the front straight we go, and look at VJ Philly's gold Veterans Game in Australia Nissan GTR, and he's probably picked that gold colour because he wants to go a three-peat. He's won the last 2 Spa 2.4 hours here in ANZCRL, and we're looking forward to seeing him mount that challenge maybe to Gunner later on. And only time will tell though. 20 seconds off the lead from Gunner, and we've seen these Nissans a little bit thirsty compared to the Mercedes, so will that cost him in the end of this race? Or will they be able to keep the same sessions as he comes up very close to Dado Racer? We think Dado's just struggling a little bit in the night session here with his tyres, maybe with some temperatures. And we won't forget about Bo Kane, who's just behind these guys as well, who did the wise decision, I think, just to let these guys fight out. He was under attack by both Philly and John Slow. John Slow then went on to try and make a move on Dado Racer about 3 or 4 laps ago, and got a bit loose and spun out. I think it was at Rivage, I think it was, as he was trying to dive down the inside of Dado Racer. But it's all this man at the moment in 3rd position, trying to hold off VGA Philly. Looks like Dado's struggling there, and he was struggling to pull it up, but he's been able to try and keep it on the track. But then there's a little touch there from VGA Philly, and this is going to open up for B. Kane. Is Bo going to be able to make this move? No, he's not. Oh, yes, he has. He's had a little touch. The Dado Racer dropped down into 3rd, but he's fighting back down the inside. So Dado from 3rd to 5th. After that mistake, he went in deep into the bus stop chicane. And that's now just allowed VGA Philly, this man, to come on through into 3rd position. So the relentless pressure from VGA Philly has finally been felt by Dado Racer. So we've got a Mercedes leading this race with gun 180. So there's flames billowing out of the twin exhaust on either side of the 77 as Guardia Motorsports Mercedes. Then we have a couple of Nissans. We got Jay Barrett in the good-looking Nissan Academy race car in there in second position. Then we have this man, VGA Philly, in the second of the Nissans. And this is what they need to do. They need to get out and run. Because I think they're going to find themselves, they've got to pit that little bit earlier each time, but we're just hoping that they're not going to have an extra pit stop compared to all the other drivers, because that will really take them out of the equation. So they have to have that mass done, hopefully correct, because they may need to do some fuel saving if they need to. And if that was the case, they needed to probably start fuel saving from the get-go. So out of the scheduled stops, we should see the Nissans come in first, and then a little bit after that, the McLarens come in a lap after that, and then the Mercedes and the Porsche come in the following lap or the extra lap after that. So the Mercs are definitely more fuel conservative. So if you're thinking of buying a car of any of those models, guys, and fuel prices were your thing that really bothered you, maybe save up a little bit more for the Mercedes, as it's showing here that's lasting longer than a Porsche. Oh, actually, Porsches are doing the same. It's lasting longer than the Nissans and the McLarens out on the grid. The BMW, I think, also came in, to be honest. I think, to be fair, the BMW came in the same time as the Porsche and the Mercedes as well. So the Mercedes is not a bad car to think about either. And this is the M6 of Ashley Cutchy, currently running in 7th position. And it's good to see him running in that position at the moment, in the top 7. You'll always be happy to be in the top 7, as let's enjoy a lap around in the BMW. You've just been on board with Ashley Cutchy in the BMW M6, the number 61 Schneider Sports. And you're with ANZCRL Combined Racing League for the inaugural run-in here of the Spa 2.4 hour, with an hour 27 minutes remaining of this 2 hour 25 minute race, simulating the full 24 hours with the 10 times 10 time progression. That's a tongue twister in its own. And so, yeah, welcome aboard, guys. And we've got Gunner leading. I call him Gunner, it's Gun 180, but Gunner, which as he's known. out there in first position at the moment, doing a stellar job as well. But I tell you what, Mr. Jay Barrett, as his fuel load's probably dropping and almost in time for a scheduled stop for Jay Barrett, I would think. He is now taken 2 seconds off Gunner. Last time we saw it was around about 10 seconds. Now it's just hovering around that, or you could say 8 seconds. And I think at this stage here, Gunner's just happy just to motor around in these times and try and limit mistakes. Keeping the pace up is the key, but also not pushing too hard, especially at this time. They've been running, as we said, nearly on that hour mark now. We are 1 minute away from the hour mark. But let's not forget, as I was right, here goes Jay Barrett into pit lane. So here he comes. Straight onto the 60k speed limit, as he doesn't want to pick up any time penalties in this race, because it could just come down to exactly that. So you don't want to pick up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in pit lane, as the crew works hard to get his car, as VGA Philly comes in, and as we go through and magically up into the corporate box area, as look at that, the bugs and all that splattered all on the front of his car, as they're working hard to get his car back out on the grid, as they are for this man here, VGA Philly, as well, in the second of the Nissans, as we have a flyby. Pretty game to be out in front of the cars as they're about to hit the road and get out on back onto track. So we're having a look at the driver that's won 2 of these events already on the Xbox Project Cars. So he's going for 3 straight. If he can win this one, we'll soon see. So he's just motoring out now. So the 2 Nissans, as is expected, come in earlier. We should see a RAF of the McLarens coming in next. So maybe John Slow will be our next one. Or has he been able to extend an extra lap? It's probably not really worth trying to extend any laps, to be honest, unless he's still been able to go flat out and not compromise any lap time. Unless they are in the limit. I haven't done any maths, guys. Oh, there's been a spinner. I think that's Pillick, as he's dropping down. And Pillick's getting himself back going again as he ran around there at Puon. That's given Zach 18. He's now pulled up that position up to 11th from that spin from Pillick. And he's the 3rd of the Nissans. So I think that he will be in pit lane this time around. As I think he's just got either the Unicorn maybe in front, or I'm not too sure who's in front of him there. Was it John Slow? So Rishi, who's in one of the McLarens, he's coming in, and that is John Slow in front, and he's not coming into pit lane, so he's been able to stay out an extra couple of laps here. He's had a couple of spins, John. He's had 2 spins already in this race, so they've been a little bit costly. And John Slow, as I think, actually we were saying Gun 180, sorry, I apologise to John Slow. Gun 180 did not win the Bathurst 12 hour earlier in the year for ANZCRL Combined Racing League. It was this man, John Slow, that took victory at Bathurst. So I really apologise about that. That's crazy on my behalf. I'm just going to have a little look at our record books. We had a massive thunderstorm come in at the end. of that race this year. So Dado in the Mercedes. As the starting to now get a little bit lighter. We get that little mist start showing through. We know that means it's the dawn is starting to come our way. So it was John Slow that took victory over Gun 180 in the Mercedes. And then we had Hugo Sutherland come home in third position in another Mercedes. And then it was myself, a Woody Lizard, in fourth position in the number 60 Genova Mercedes AMG. And then Dado Racer was actually, yeah, he was in a Porsche. He was in the 82 Porsche. Fenatech Racing that we see this man, Pillick. So Dado Racer came actually fifth and was the last car on the lead lap before we came to Highlander in the McLaren. So Pillick is driving the car that we saw Dado in. Dado this time in a Mercedes. And just have a look at these visuals. Let's think that you're a driver. You didn't get the into the entry here at ANZCRL Combined Light Racing League, but you'd like to do it next year. Look at the visuals, but next year, who knows? We might have rain at this time of the morning. But at this stage, Dado Racer in third position, holding strong. We've got Ashley in the pit lane as John Slow in the McLaren. Ashley in the BMW have gone early. So we get into that favourite part of the race where the drivers have got the half of the race behind them, and they've got the next hour 12 to go. So that'll hit us in the next 7 minutes or so, when they can start thinking they're on their run home. As Pixel Boy comes into pit lane as we speak. Just as is Pixel Boy leaving pit lane just to stay on the lead lap. Or is he? No, he's coming in. So he's in the pit lane. Just before we have also Mr. Gunn, the leader of the race, has gone in. Bo Kane in the Porsche. Now this is a change of events. He's going out an extra lap, 2:18. That previous lap. So absolutely flying when the other drivers, Dado races in 2:20. So can the Porsche find itself a challenge in Gun 180 by the time once the Porsche goes for his pit stop? So it looks like Rishi's also had a little bit of a problem. Wade is into the pit lane too. He's coming in the second of the BMWs. And he's in the number 11. Hope you're not getting dizzy, guys. We'll get off that view. It can get a little bit tiresome there sometimes. So here he goes. He's about to leave, is he? As we have also got Pillick in the Porsche also. So here we go. Bo Kane effectively, not effectively, but he's leading this race. He's yet to pit. And as the morning mist starting to collect around the circuit as the sun starting to break the horizon over these hills around Belgium, of the Spa-Francorchamps. Now, will we see Bo in this time around? Yes, he's heading straight into pit lane. How hard does he attack the 60k line? Coming in hard. So he's in. Dado Racer is coming in as well. So nicely done. So you can see these drivers do practice their pit entries. You can gain some time coming in and out. As in comes this man for his pit stop. And he's looking the three-pointed star. Good advertising there for the Mercedes brand. And he's just bubbling away, gurgling away, ready to hit the track once again. So Gunner has now just gone past the starting straight. So those Bo Kane who went a couple of laps later on that run, so did Dado. And I think Dado was around about that 14, 15 second mark behind. It was about 20 second, I think it was, from Gunner. So we'll see how Dado fares. VGA Philly coming on through. Jay Barrett's already through for second position. But are we going to see? No, Bo Kane, here he is. So he's holding out there in third position just in front of VGA Philly. So he's leapfrog Philly as John was actually in front of Bo when they went into the pits. When John went into the pits, VGA Philly. And Dado's lost some time to Gunner. Now 31 seconds behind. And he finds himself just in front by a little bit from John Slow at this stage. So put it out there, guys, that you guys are watching. Hopefully you were enjoying this run as we are now halfway through the race. We got another hour 14 to go. So thanks for sticking around. If the guys have stuck around already since the start of the race, hope you can keep watching to see what unfolds in the last hour and a bit of this race as the sun's about to pop through. And we definitely want to find out, what's your thoughts? Who do you think may come out in front? Now obviously Gun 180 looks like he would be the favourite at this stage, but who do you think will be on the podium? How about the next two? Who do you think it will be? Will it be VGA Philly, this man just behind Bo Kane? Still fighting, as we said. He'll be happy to if he can just get on the podium after winning the previous two events here in Spa in 21 and 2022. So he'll be very happy to put that car on a podium position. But he won't give up trying either, so he'll still go for that win. And here he goes. He's trying to get into that top three now as we speak. And Bo Kane defending strong. And this is the part where the drivers now come out of that night session. They can start seeing that track a little bit better. But that mist will also linger around for a little bit. You see that new grandstand at Radion, at the top of Radion. The game's done that well. Oh, there's VGA Philly bouncing all over. Just on the border of a track limit there, but doing well. And he's got a good run here. Will we see a defensive move down by Bo Kane? No, he's playing wise. Still a long way to go. He knows it's only just gone halfway race distance in this race, and he has been a contender all race long, Bo. So he knows that he's well and truly in the hunt for this podium. If not victory, you never know what's happening. Jay Barrett, he got it down the margin before. He was around that 11 seconds behind Gunner. He managed to get that down within 8 seconds that last stint. Will we see that Nissan start to eat away a little bit of Gunner's lead? now that we're into the second half of this race. So the final leg of this race, and it's been enthralling. So our prediction of 60 laps could well be what we're looking at as we've passed the halfway there on lap 31. So if we avoid any safety car intervention. What about safety car? We haven't had a little roll around of the Chevrolet Camaro safety car, using up some E10 fuel, BP, and that'd be a fun car to be hanging around in a V8 supercar form with a Mustang. Hint, hint. Thanks, Keza. I'm glad you're loving it. And who's you supporting? Is it this man, Zach 18? Your man going in 9th position. I'm not too sure if it is or not, but I remember that name, Keza, before. So if it is, you're the pit crew for Zach 18. There we go, Zach 18, welcome. And he's doing good there in the top 10. As we've just had a disconnect or someone leave, which is Rishi, who was in 14th, I think. So that's a shame that we've missed Rishi. He was trying to hang in for the long haul. So he was, as we said, in 14th position, but he was having a good little battle with the Unicorn. So that's a shame. I'm sure that he'll be a bit disappointed as all these drivers are fighting battles amongst little battles here. And this would be a battle that obviously Zach 18 will be trying to see if he can get into contention to put a position on this BMW of Wadey. Oh, Rishi, yeah, sorry that you got a disconnect there, mate, I think, or something went on there, buddy. That's unfortunate, my friend. You had a good run. Hope you enjoyed yourself, as you were really fighting this man here on screens here, the Unicorn in the TSA McLaren, as he has just got Ashley coming on up through to put another lap on the Unicorn. Ashley running in 7th. We started with 14 runners, as the Unicorn just runs wide just to let this man come on through. And John Slow's a driver that's starting to find a lot of time in the 219s, the low 219s. And VGA Philly's another driver in the 19, but an 18 again from Gun 180. He seems to be able to do that after his pit stop. Oh, you had your engine blown off. Oh, that could have been because maybe if you've had a little bit of an accident, mate, unfortunately that can happen sometimes, or you've had your radiator too closed off a bit too much, and engine temperatures can creep up. You start getting a bit of engine damage, you need to start to look at pitting and getting engine mechanical damage repaired. So if you didn't have mechanical damage set to be repaired during your pit stops, that could have answered your problem. There's John Slow fighting through the bus stop chicane, as he's also fighting the sun. As I said, the morning sun's probably going to be the worst, because they're going to have to try and contend coming through one of the trickiest parts of the circuit here. Actually, the sun's not going to be too bad. It's going to be the back of themselves as they come on through Radion, El Rouge and Radion. I enjoy a lap here with John Slow in his McLaren 720. And I would be saying that John Slow's, after his two spins that he's had, his aim will be to get into that top 3 as well, and he's got the pace to do it. So I wouldn't discount to see John Slow standing on the podium at the end of this race. Definitely got the time. That's a shame, Rishi, reading that, my friend. But that's also motorsport, isn't it? That can happen to the best of them. And but obviously a little bit of preparation on your behalf and ends with a DNF. But anyway, that'll give you a little bit more fuel in the fire, a bit of hunger for next year to come back and show us what you're worth. And challenge once again, this famous circuit is all about endurance. You can have the fastest car and see the cruel things happen. Here's that sun glare coming out. And just being a dad commentator, I'm just going to have to give a little bit of a break while I just find out and help my son quickly. But I'll go back on trackside, and I'm just seeing if there's a nice little toasty battle. We'll keep it on John Slow, actually, because he is the man trying to catch onto Dado Racer and lap in similar pace. And as we said, he is the Bathurst 12-hour winner from this year and the same car, so he really knows this car, and he'll be a little bit annoyed about his little mistakes he's made, but if he keeps it nice and clean, as we said, a top 3 on the podium is not out of the equation here. So enjoy a little bit of time here, guys. I'll be back very shortly, commentating with you guys. Okay, I'm back, guys, and it's just looking at John Slow, and he's just run a little bit ragged here as the sun's come up. Temperature's going to start coming into these trucks too, so if they had a different setup with their tyres during the night, they're going to want to start thinking about when they're going to need to get in for this pit stop. We did see them running roughly 30 minutes before they came in, so they're probably going to look to start seeing some pit stops within the next 5 minutes, I'd say. Some of the drivers would like to see about 8 minutes maybe. And they know that they'll be able to then get to the end with the one stop after they have the next stop here. So we should be seeing 2 more stops before the end of the race. Again, I apologise about the little bit of the break in the commentary. I just had to change a light globe of all things for my son so he can get to sleep. So anyway, these things happen. And we love being a dad, and that's why we do it. But we're here now, back here in Spa, in the broadcast booth. You could almost say I went and got myself a cup of tea, if that's what you need. If the guys that have been around for the hour 25 since the start of the race, you'll probably want to have a little stretch, go out there, get the kettle on, come back. As the race is sort of neutralised just at this stage, we'll go through the order. We've got this man here, Gun 180, in the Mercedes, in the Escadia car that he almost won Bathurst 12 hour, and I was going on rudely taking it away from John Slow, saying that Gunner took victory at the Bathurst 12 hour early in the year, but it was second for that man. And then we've got Jay Barrett doing a sensational job in the Nissan, and he's the first of a couple of the Nissans out there on the track at the moment, and he just puts in his fastest lap time of the race at 2:18.259. We'll get to the fastest lap of the race a little bit later as we go through the field, as Jay Philly finds himself only 7 seconds behind Jay Barrett in the second of the Nissans, and he's running for Veterans Gaming Australia, and he's in the number 205 gold livery Nissan. And then again we have another gold car, and it's this man of Bo Kane in the Porsche. And he is not out of any equation in this race. Still a capable race winner as well. Just that 30 seconds behind the lead in 4th position. And we saw Dado Racer. He had a little bit of a mistake during the early hours of the morning as he was running up in, I think he was running 3rd. And he's dropped down into 5th position in the 85 Endor Brain Factory Racing Team Mercedes. And that's a nice looking livery with the sun now shining on it. The night skies was a very dark car, obviously, as is this man John Slow, now up into 6th position. He's held that position since he's made the second of his mistakes, but he's slowly he's lost a little bit of time to Dado. The last lap he did a 2:18, so the previous lap he must have had a little mistake because he was within 6 seconds of Dado, and now it's out to 11 seconds. Wadey in the first of the BMWs. So he's been able to get the better of Ashley. Ashley was actually in front of him for quite a while in that first half of the race. So Wadey's doing a really good job in the number 11 Zoo TV Motorsports. We haven't seen much of this car, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more now in the second half as Gunner comes into pit lane. So this is a shock. He's come in before the Nissans this time, so he's working on pit strategy. Sorry to go from going through the field, but this is a telling factor in the story of this race. So he knows that he can get to the end now when he goes back in. So Jay Barrett finally takes the lead of the race. And this is because he's been able to stay out a little bit longer than Gunner. Gunner's obviously, this is a strategy call to come in. As we go through the field now, Ashley is the driver that we saw earlier in the lead-in of the BMWs, but Wadey has got the better of him now, and he's in that number 61 Schneider Sports BMW M6. Then it's Pixel Boy in the Mimic Ferrari red colour car of the number Oh, sorry, I'm just trying for number 12, SKS Motorsports McLaren 720S. So it's not a Ferrari, but the Ferrari red. In 9th position, up in the top 10, he'll be happy. And then we've got the third of the Nissan, Zach 18. Got some support out there watching, and he's in the third of those Nissans GTR, running the 209 VN LK Racing Nissan. It was a late entry into the race as he had some family duties that he was needing to do, which was putting him on hold to make the entry. And then a few things happened later that he was able to enter in tonight. And I'm sure he's enjoyed himself out there on track in 10th position. And obviously limited practice from Zach 18, so you have to hand it to him, doing 2:19.72, won that previous lap, outstanding. So obviously starting to get to grips with the car late in the race. So, you know, Pixel Boy, if I was Pixel Boy, I'd be keeping an eye on those times and making sure that Pixel keeps a steady pace. Otherwise you have Zach 18 on his tail before the end of this race. Talking about tails, look at Pillick right in the middle of this. As we've got Ashley just putting a lap on him, but he's got Brenny right behind him, and this is for position 11, as Brenny is only less than a second, it's saying on our timing monitors. As up over Radion comes Pillick, and Brenny is in this McLaren in the number 4 McLaren Racing car as Jay Barrett. The Nissans now come in as scheduled, and we will see these McLarens come in later. But look at this nice little battle that we have going on. Ashley's not in this battle. Ashley's obviously in front, but seems to be slowing down these drivers. It looks like Pillick wants to get going in the Porsche. Ashley's obviously did a 2:34 that previous lap, so either his tyres are shot or something's going on with that BMW up the road. And these cars are obviously blue flag, but really Ashley should be thinking about, if he's nursing a sore car or something going on, he should let these cars through. They're not a threat to his race, and they want to get on. And this is where sometimes you start getting a little bit of driver anger that can happen, and then it can also cost the driver in front his race, because unfortunately an accident could ensue. This is where I always call it a little bit of driver craft. And sometimes your pride, you just got to let it go. Oh, and Pillick's, as you can see, he's obviously getting a little bit frustrated, and Brenny gets that position. I don't think Ashley will be on Pillick's Christmas card list, as he's wouldn't be a too happy chappy out there. But Ashley's just holding these guys at bay, which is could be costly. I just don't want to put a mocker on any of these drivers here, as Ashley's not going into pit lane for anything, so he's elected to stay out, but he's lapping probably slower than these guys. And you've got to respect the guys, even though that they're in 11th and 12th position, in my opinion. That's only my opinion, guys. It's not the rules or anything like that, but really, I would be thinking, if I was Ashley, I would be just letting these guys through. You're only going to maybe cause a few dramas for yourself when these drivers are battling for their own positions, and at the same time they try and make a move on you, and then they get it all wrong. It looks like Ashley, though, credit to him, has got his pace going, so maybe he had just a few things going on at the time as the Unicorn goes in for one of his pit stops. The BMW struggling through this part of the circuit by the looks of things. This is where we came to them before, where they were right on the back of the BMW. As Pillick's having a little cheeky look. Now up front, we have got the two Mercedes, I think, of Dado Racer and Gunner. Now, Dado's obviously hasn't pitted yet. He's a bit out of sync to Gunner. Gunner came in for a shorter stop that round. And I reckon what that was probably what I alluded to before, when they've been running in the night with their tyre pressures set at a different level. And now as the sun's come out, and here comes Gunner. Oh, went to have a little look down the inside of Dado, but Dado's been able to hold strong as he goes on up over into Rivage. Around the long right-hand corner. You're waiting to get on the throttle, but you don't want to get on too early because you won't get too greedy. But these cars have traction control, which would be helping them. But we've obviously seen that it can still catch you out, but it's still Dado Race. Oh, talking about touching out, Dado Racer right out in front of Gunner, and a little glance of the wall as he was trying to negotiate Puon. A massive moment for Dado Racer, and this is how the race can end as well for Gunner. He was so lucky there, he could have got involved in that incident. And this is where good drivers, they're just so aware of their environment. And likewise, where we can go back also to mention about Ashley Critchie just being a little bit more aware and letting these drivers through, which he's done now by the looks of it. These drivers have got through. So well done to them. Hopefully they Ashley decided just to let them on through, because that's the right thing to do. These drivers are a lot faster, even though they're blue flagged. Basically on the same lap now as Ashley, I think. As the BMW has that extra power, and he's putting a little bit of pressure, but Pillick will obviously want to make sure that he holds him at bay. As it's taken them a couple laps to try and get in front of the BMW, which they finally did. It wasn't for position, as we said, so they can now resume their fight, both Brenny and Pillick. They will have to just calm themselves down after being frustrated a little bit. But what a moment that was from Dado Racer and Gunner. It was so close that Gunner may have got caught involved with the spinning of Dado when he was fighting for the second place, which he was able to get with Dado spinning in front of him. But that's how easy it could have changed, and that would have benefited obviously this man, Bo Kane, who's currently out in front. But also, they still haven't pitted yet. These guys have already pitted, and Jay Barrett is well and truly in this picture if something like that did happen to Gun 180, because before the pit stops, this man was in second place, so effectively he could still be in second place. We do know that they have to stay in pit lane a little bit longer for their fuel because they're marginal, whereas someone like Bo Kane, he's yet to stop at this period of the race. I don't think he's going to be able to stretch this out and only have to pit once. It's going to be close, but I think he'd be running on fumes. I don't think that we're going to see any graphic of how much fuel. He's got 25.2, if that's correct, in the tank. We've seen them give us mixed figures every now and then when we jump on board, but accelerated fuel burn, so it's going to go down a lot faster than what you think, obviously, as you can see here. So he's only probably going to get 2 or 3 laps extra, so he's still going to have to stop a second time before the end of the race. But it'll only be a splash and dash, so it'll be working in his favour, and his stop will be a lot less. I don't think I ended up finishing my sentence about an hour ago about my wish with Automobilista 2 for our broadcasters, that they could bring up a little dash that we can show up here, like a dash where it tells how much fuel, their tyre wear, all that sort of stuff, so we can, for these longer endurance races, it's a little bit more interesting for the viewer, and also keeps us on board to see where these drivers are at. But at that stage, if we treat that as gospel, I think Bo will be in for a fuel stop in the next 2 or 3 laps, which may not get him to the end of the race, as Mr. John Slow comes on in for his pit lane stop as he gets on the marks, and they get to work on his number 95 centrifugal racing team, McLaren. Got a little bit of damage there on the left-hand rear corner that he got earlier in the race when he tagged the wall into the little spin. Lucky it was just the tyre bundles. As he's sitting there ready to go, Mr. John Slow. the average racer, sim racer. You can see him, he's probably got his point of view there, so make sure you go and check that out. You'll be obviously seeing his view like this, as his fuel level shows 121 litres, which is a full tank, I think, as he's just waiting for the final thing touches of his pit stop, and off he goes. So here he comes down pit lane, and he's going to rejoin the race there in 7th position. And he's waiting in the top 6, so he's got that position on John Slow during that pit stop in the Zoo TV BMW. Just listen to a valve bouncing as he's on the downshift. So Gunner is 11 seconds off from Bo Kane, who's really trying to extend his run, and this could be a stroke of genius here because he's still going around for another lap without pit stop, as we see the not so Ferrari McLaren coming in of Pixel Boy. And I think he's hit the pit limiter on a bit earlier than what it is. And here comes out his crew, right behind the Camaro he'll be, of the safety car. And in he comes. So bang, on the marks he goes. And while we look at the Camaro, we can see Pixel Boy's pit crew working hard, as along comes Zach 18 into 9th. So there he goes. So he's now finds himself in that 9th position. Been fighting hard all race to get out of the double figures, and now he's into single figures. So welcome to position 9, Mr. Zach 18. And if that number board saying 209, is that a little bit of something we're going to see by the end of the race? Will he finish in 9th position? Or will we take 2 out of 9 and he finishes in 7th, where John Slow currently is, as Wade is in the pit lanes of the BMW. And if we think that John Slow should be able to get back into the top 6 here, I think that Wadey will be still sitting there for a little while. But he should come out in front of Ashley Cucci, who's just coming around curve of Paul Ferreira, I think it's called. I'm not 100% sure there, but turn 15 and we'll do. There's Bo Kane doing a great job. Now, let's go back on board as he's getting close to time of 8.8 litres. So will he be able to squeeze out one more lap, or is he in this time? So a lot of action in pit lane now. All the McLarens, BMWs are in. Another lap from Bo. So did we miss a pit stop? We couldn't have missed a pit stop from Bo because he was a lot further behind Gunner. I think he's extending this one out in the Porsche. Lapping about 1.8 seconds slower than this man, Gunner, who's now on the charge to try and get back into the top spot that he's had for most of this race. But has he been outdone by strategy this time? Because we know that the Mercedes is going to have to pit once more, and that's what Bo's trying to do. He's trying to get to that spot where he's going to just pit and won't have to pit again. So there could be a bit of fuel conserving going on. That's why he's doing the 220 lap time, but I think it's more to do with the tyre wear. Could be a little bit of fuel conserving on his part. But as I said earlier in the broadcast, he came along and hit ANZCRL like a tsunami during practice session 1, where he was on the top of the timesheets for most of that 1 hour session on Friday night, last night, until John Slow finally pipped him and got him with a 2:17.8 17.524 compared to Bo's 217.976. So he was only 0.452 of a second off of John Slow. But we've seen John Slow have his little difficulties through the race. And he's trying to fight back if he can. Oh, look at that, the BMW of Ashley. Having a good fight. So Ashley's been able to just get in front of Wadey from that pit stop. So he's got the fresher tyres. And look at this battle for 7th position, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, the endurance races always throw something up. All right, through the race. So we've got the battle of the BMWs. Who's going to win out here? Will it be Wadey, who's just behind Ashley? And it's both good-looking liveries. The BMWs sure do know how to style their cars. As in comes Wadey. Actually, that answers our question. So Wadey's in for a pit stop, as is the leader of the race. So look at this right at time, and that's holding up Bo. He wouldn't be happy with that because the entry point for the 60k is just past that first line. So he was slow coming in. So Bo wouldn't have enjoyed seeing Wadey just in front of him, because that slowed him right down as Dado's coming in. So they've done their maths. They know that they're going to get to the end of the race now. So this is, oh, that was a drive-through actually from Wadey. So he is maybe extended those track limits and got a drive-through. So that's unfortunate. So that neutralised that battle between him and Ashley. So he's been getting a little bit greedy, but he held up Bo on entry, as he seemed to be on the 60-kilometre limit, probably about 100 metres, or maybe not that, probably 20 metres I should say, 10 metres or so before where he needed to. As out comes Bo now, so he's going to filter out in front of John Slow as he's just coming through Blanchimont. And he's got his good mate just behind him, the Unicorn, in 13th position. In the camo, number 90 McLaren, the TSA Racing. And he's having a good little out in the Unicorn. He seems to have kept it fairly clean throughout the race and just been lapping his pace and racing his own race. And he'd be feeling a little bit sorry for Rishi, as we all feel sorry for Rishi with his blown engine at put a retirement around about 20 minutes or so ago, just as the sun was coming up. He missed the best part of the morning. But anyway, there's always next year. So Bo Kane, he's now in 4th position, and he's got a nice little healthy margin from Dado Racer, 17 seconds, and he's about 18 seconds behind VGA Philly, who finds himself in 3rd position in this Nissan. And he's trailing this man here, his fellow Nissan driver of Jay Barrett. They've been lapping similar times and only separated by less than 10 seconds. Nice to hear, Rishi. That's what we want to see. Drivers wanting to come back here. And guarantee here at ANZCRL will be around, and it's an annual event. It's something we can build up even bigger and make it a stronger event next year. Hopefully have a 30-car grid as well. That'll be something special. We're looking good with originally 16 cars, which wasn't too bad. And that was half the field of a full 32, obviously. But not too bad for our first go at the Spa 2.4 here on Automobilista 2. And I'm sure this will breed a little bit more interest as Dado Racer. Oh, I thought he was just going to be within a whisker of John Slow as our timing on the left there reads a little bit wrong to what we see actually what is happening, where he's about 5 seconds in front of Mr. Slow. And Dado is having a hell of a time at the moment with his car, so could this also be, I mentioned earlier that some of these drivers have got some problems with their their lower back, a little bit of back pain, and it's actually this man here who's in 5th and the man following John Slow that have really got been having some problems of late. And they're coming close together as Dado Racer is just come out of pit lane. That's why we got the 3:18 that previous lap, as Bo Kane also did the same thing, came out of the pit. So Dado Racer actually had a better out lap compared to Bo Kane that one. Bo did 3:19 compared to Dado's 3:18. Oh, that's good to hear. So, Mr. John, that's John Slow you're talking about, that's been teaching you some bit of sim racing? Well, that's awesome to hear. Mr. John Slow does like to lend a hand, and it's a credit to this fella. Not only is he fast, he's so kind to all sim racers, and always got kind. He's not one to really... Like, nothing bad to say with a lot of drivers, you know. You can let his frustration be known a little bit, but it's in a nice way. And very good bloke to boat boot as go as well. As I've been lucky enough to meet him at one of the V8 supercar races in Newcastle, and I also came across the Unicorn, which I never knew that I'd just see a Unicorn, but I did. And another very nice fella as well. So, great Australian sim racers amongst this lot. I'd assume that I'd say all of them are. Everyone is. This man here is a nice guy as well. Gun 180 from Tasmania. We've got another Novacaster and someone else from Newcastle. This man here, Jay Barrett, in the Nissan in 2nd position. So we've got a couple of we got a Tassie, New South Wales, and then VJ Philly is from Queensland. He's got a Queenslander here, and he's in 3rd position. I said earlier, that just reminds me, let's have a little look at the timings. Let's just see who's got the fastest lap so far of the race. I think it already shows there. Gunner, 2:17.90. That's a very nice race lap as well. As I said, the fastest lap on the Xbox Project CARS2 around this circuit was a 2:16.8. So I don't think we'll ever be matched, because that was a little bug in the game back in the day, back in 2020, where the McLaren and some sort of tyre setup that Lloydie found, we just had him on fire. So it looks like a 2:17.9. Then we've got a low 2:18 by VGA Philly, might be the second best there with a 2:18.0, almost into the 17s. So yeah, it looks like that. So there you go. John Slow, I think he's still, he's starting to, actually he's got in front of Dado. Sorry we missed that. It's what we're going through. Thanks, Rishi. But there you go. So John Slow has got that pace well and truly in that car with a 2:19.5. And Bo is not safe in 4th position. And if any of those Nissans slip up, and as we know, they're going to have to pit for a little bit more fuel than maybe the McLaren. So he might gain a little bit of time in the pit lane, Mr. Slow, and he may be on the background of VGA Philly at the end of this race. So I'd expect in the last 5 minutes to really fire up in this race. So make sure that you stay on board here with us, as here we go, Ashley and Wadey back at it again as the BMW, and here comes Wadey down the inside of Lacombe. And nice driving by both of these BMW drivers. So obviously Wadey, who had that drive-through penalty for track cut limits, has been able to get back onto Ashley fairly quick and really fighting the rear end of that car. Then he came in very hot into Rivage and lucky to pull it up. Let's just see, this is the corner here. If you have got the car not sorted out, it can be really challenging through Pouon. It looks like he's got some good rotations. It doesn't look too taily. Just might have just been a little bit hard coming in the entry of Rivage at turn 8 earlier. So will he be able to fight anything with Dado? I don't think so. A minute up the road for Dado Racer, unless something really bad happens to this man. Looks like Dado will probably hold on to this 6th position. And at the moment, Dado Racer, I believe, is the last. So we've got 6 cars on the lead lap. Wadey's leading the cars at this stage that are a lap down. Pixel Boy doing a great job. Again, in no man's land at the moment, as he's retaken that 9th position from this man, Zach 18. And then Branny, again, he's broken away from Pillick, who's in the Porsche. And he seems to be fighting that car just a little bit, just struggling. As Pixel Boy, talk about struggle, Pixel Boy, right up over the curb on the exit there of the Fangs. I like to call it Fangs, Fagners. I should give up trying to pronounce some of these names at the corners. Okay, so here's the time for some people to start typing away. I want to know who you think is going to take the fastest lap by the end of the race. We just saw the timings earlier. This man has the fastest lap, and don't forget they still got a pit again before the end of this race. So will you see them put on new tyres, or are they going to just put some fuel in? Most of the drivers will probably hope to double stint these tyres. It is at times 2 tyre wear, so it's a big ask. So maybe they will put tyres on. Maybe Rishi can help us with that one. So one of the drivers that had a DNF as the sun was coming up. Is it possible to fight hard with double stinted tyres with a times 2 tyre wear? Was it with the tyres needing changing each pit stop as when you had the fuel, or with your double stint? So looks like Gun 180 is being put on notice here for the fastest lap, as here he comes, talking about coming in a pit stop. Thank you, Stream Sniper Stu. Oh, Stu Dog. Thank you, buddy. And it's been a great race so far. We've had a few ups and downs, topsy-turvies. There's also Zach 18 in pit lane as he comes on out now. Hits the exit of pit lane and motors on back on down to the run to El Rouge. And look at the sight. You've got the big grandstand now there on the left-hand side as he comes on through. Tries to keep it flat out, probably just hovering around on the throttle. And the Nissans absolutely look brilliant out there as Jay Barrett now takes the lead of the race again as Gunner's in the pit lane. Okay, so Rishi thinks that basically they can double stint these tyres. So we think we've got about 10 laps to go of this race. And Jay Barrett is yet to pit. We've got Gun 180. He's just coming out of pit lane now. So will we see him topple his best lap of a 2:17.9? Will he get that any lower, or will anyone else get into the 2:17s? Jay Barrett is one of the drivers that's closest. He had a 2:18.077. So that was a fairly quick lap. He's the second fastest man so far during this race. So here we go. So the race is on. We know that Jay Barrett has to pit again. Gunner's had his stop. Bo Kane, I think, has been in. I think he can get to the end. So what's he? He's about 20 seconds behind Gunner. So what he's going to be doing is trying to find himself on the podium at the end of the race unless Gunner makes a mistake. So it'll be a race between this man and Jay Barrett. BGA Philly, who was behind Barrett, has pitted, I think, and in 6th position. So that's a telling factor to see where Jay Barrett may pop out, and Bo Kane may be effectively second on the racetrack. So that's a good showing in the Porsche. Now where will that put John though? We see him just in front of Dado Racer. They're having a little ding-dong battle for 4th position. But I believe that we'll be seeing John in for a pit stop. It says 76.7 litres. If that's right, he'd probably find himself almost getting to the end of this race. And fighting for 4th, maybe 3rd position with Jay Barrett. Jay Barrett will definitely come out, I think, in 3rd position once he pits. So John spun at turn 1, Rishi's telling me. So that's a 3rd known mistake from John. Now if he'd taken those spins out of the equation, now it's put him a bit out of sync of things. You will probably think that he would be right on Gunner's tail, because he at the moment finds himself about 40 seconds behind Gunner. And when you think about the spins, how it costs you a little bit of time, plus the damage repair in pit lane when he clobbered or he hit the wall, got a little bit of damage. So John Slow might be ruining those mistakes after this when he sits down, has a beer and evaluates all the proceedings. Oh, it's Dado Racer goes way off. We've seen him having a few little moments late in this race. I think he's getting a little bit tired, the old statesman. But still holding 5th position, and he's going to come under attack from VGA Philly very shortly. As here comes VGA Philly just out of the bus stop chicane in the background. Great part of the circuit there. Wish the camera would just stay on him a little bit longer, I think, going on through Radion. Get him right through El Rouge and on the climb up to Radion. But he's the leader of the race at the moment and lapping fairly fast as well. Only a 0.1 of a second off his fastest time that we've seen earlier was a nearly a 2:18 flat. So are we going to see Jack in for his pit stop? So here we go. So the drivers have been driving for over 2 hours, so you can see where a little bit of fatigue happens. But this is the pit lane there. So that's when we were saying about Bo Kane earlier. He cost time when he was behind, I think it was Wadey coming in, because Wadey came in and put his limiter on the line before, and I would imagine that he's done that because of the actual 60k speed limit little sign has probably been knocked down, and so he got mistaken for the line before the actual line. Too many lines. So Gunner is taking the lead again, and we're just going to see where Bo Kane is. He's coming through the bus stop, so is this going to see him up into 2nd position? Jay Barrett is moving. No, he's not moving. Yes, he is. No, he's not. He's still in pit lane. So Bo's going to get into 2nd position, and we believe he's got enough fuel to get to the end. It's going to be close. ×2 fuel burn. And this man now up into 2nd position. Now John Slow, as we've seen, he's going to get himself up into 3rd position as Jay Barrett in pit lane. But we think that maybe Jay Barrett needs to, John Slow needs to pit still to get to the end. And here comes Jack. He's just coming out of pit lane now, and he's going to have probably fresh tyres. Not 100% sure about those tyres, but he's definitely got now the fuel to get to the end. And there's question mark for both Bo in 2nd position and John in 3rd. So only time will tell with 21 minutes remaining and a few more on the clock. So those guys that have been hanging out the long haul and probably had either a couple of refreshments along the way, who's been your driver of the day at the moment? Like, who do you think has impressed? Obviously, you can't take away this man. I know you can obviously put in Gun 180. I think he's had a brilliant race. He's done nothing wrong and been so solid. And even though that he's just held on to that basic first position all the way, he deserves the driver of the day. But what about Wadey? He's had a great race in this BMW. He's put it up when we saw earlier. Ashley was up higher in running with Jay Barrett and VGA Philly earlier on. And so we had Keza saying Gun 180 for sure. So here he goes, Gun 180. Going to put another lap on Wadey. What about Jay Barrett coming in the Nissan and being the fastest driver at this stage? Doing a great job for the Japanese car manufacturer. Doing a good job. What about John Slow? He's probably not really, you couldn't really give him the driver award because he's had those spins, but I tell you what, he's held in. And you can also say that these drivers, if they don't have the experience and the passion like they do, some drivers would have probably retired the car already by now, but not John. He's still going. As it looks like we've lost another driver, unfortunately. And just trying to find out. We got a thing for VGA Philly. Yeah, he's had a great race for the veterans game in Australia. But all the main players are still there. Brenny, Pillick, the Unicorn. It's Pixel Boy. Now that's a shame because Pixel Boy was running up. Oh no, Pixel Boy's there. I was going to say he had some problems with his internet connection before the race. Was able to get on, so it was good to see Pixel Boy. But Zach 18, how about that one? Zach 18 could have the driver of the day. He's been up in the double figures and now finds himself up into 8th position. And could he find himself? Let's bring up the overall the overview. We can see that Wadey, he's over a minute and a half in front. So it's a long way up the road for Zach 18 to try and get into 7th. But I tell you what, 8th position is pretty good for a man that was the last man to sign on only this morning, actually. Limited seat time. And what's his best time? Let's have a look to see what his best time was. Zach 18 has had a 2:19 his best. So 2:19.2. So that's fast enough to be done with all the top 5 drivers. Yeah, Brenny, that's a good point. He's done really good as well, up into 10th position. But who's trying to think who actually dropped out, guys. I'm just going through the list here. Ashley, I think. Is Ashley Cucci there? Ashley's gone. So that's who it was. The battle that Ashley was having with Wadey. We've lost Ashley, so that's a shame. So hence the reason why Zach 18 has gone on up as well. But John Slow, just in front of Jay Barrett. Oh, and he's just gone in too deep there at the bus stop. Cost him a little bit of time. Let's go on cockpit view. Let's see his fuel numbers. 58.4. Hopefully that is true to its number. And if that is, John Slow will get to the end of this race with that fuel figure. And we know that he's got the ability to hold off someone like Jay Barrett or like anyone. We saw him hold off Gunner 180 for the Bathurst 12-hour win earlier in the year for almost 2 hours. So here you go. So he's battling with Gunner and also held him off. So let's see how this pans out, guys. We've got 17 minutes remaining. Bo Kane in the Porsche. Oh, and just in front of him we had Pixel Boy having a spin. And that could have easily ended Bo's charge. Well, he's not really charging. I think he's just limiting. He's got 49, just under 50 litres. So if that's true, as we said, he'll get to the end. So a good run from Bo. Sensational, actually. Jay Barrett, oh, we just missed it. Got the move on John Slow through Rivage. just missed it, guys. I apologise for that. As I was looking at fuel numbers just to see where people may stand. But Jay Barrett back into third as John runs really wide. But a good comeback drive from this man. But he's going to be now maybe in the clutches of this man, VGA Philly. He's trying to get himself up on a podium if he can. So that's well and truly within his reach. Both VGA Philly and Jay Barrett have raced hard together a number of years now, so they know each other. VGA Philly has also rubbed, or not really rubbed, but he's raced hard with John Slow as well on Automobilista 2. They were new to one another this year, but doing a good job. And the three cars were just in shot there from third, fourth and fifth. And he's run wide. So John knows he's almost fighting with one hand behind his back, I think. So he's either, tyres are absolutely gone. He's double stinted and maybe third stint in tyres to try and keep himself in this race. But just finding now he's just got no grip. And basically just gave up that position to VGA Philly. Didn't want to fight him as comes the Unicorn out of pit lane. So we've had the two retirements of the race, Rishi and Ashley Cucci, as Wadey comes in for another, what I think was a drive-through. So he's really testing the track limit, stewards. 3 track limits before the drive-through, so he's now seen himself have 2 of them. So we'll keep an eye now on VGA Philly as he's 5 seconds behind the leading Nissan. And VGA Philly will want bragging rights to bring home the first Nissan in this Spa 2.4 hour race. Currently that is for Jack Barrett. And they're 15 seconds away from second position, and that is quite doable because Bo might be also fuel conserving if that number that we've seen in the dash isn't quite correct. We've seen that he was a bit marginal on fuel. We're thinking he will be marginal by the end of this race. And it will come down to if there's that one extra lap, or the race hasn't got the one extra lap, but depending when Gunner takes the checker, when the timer runs out I should say, where he is on circuit, well and truly there could be that one more lap that what they were predicting of 60, might get to 61 laps. And a nice showing by the 2 Nissan drivers. They've been at the pointy end of this race most of the duration. And Jay Barrett actually made the comment. He said, oh, I only picked the Nissan because there was only one Nissan in the field, which was VGA Philly. So he thought there wasn't much love for the Nissan. I think that's going to change a few people's opinion next year. We might see a few more Nissans on the grid. Obviously, Zach 18, he was only on the entry list, as I said, this morning. So no one knew Zach 18 was even going to be really here. So he's shocked a few people, and mate, up into position 8, leading the bottom half of the grid. If we go back to 14 of the initial starters. So outstanding job from the veteran. And hopefully he can keep that concentration going for another 12 minutes, as can there's a hope this man can get to the end of this race without too many more dramas. We've seen a few little lazy mistakes which will probably relate to him being a little bit seat sore, you could say. As Wadey's motoring on through. He's a lap down, so Dado is the last car actually on the lead lap. There's the 6 cars, which is not a bad showing actually. with how tight the field was over the 2 hours. Have to award all the drivers a big pat on the back for a great showing. So again, Bo Kane. Welcome, Chedsy, from the Philippines, mate. Beautiful neck of the woods as well. I'd always want to head out there for a holiday. Beautiful islands and things like that. So yeah, welcome, Chedsy. And yeah, Zach 18. We've got 2 supporters already for Zach 18, maybe a few more watching. So I'll tell you what, Zach 18 gets the fan vote for the most support. So well done to Zach 18. It's great to have you guys commenting. Keeps me entertained, keeps other people entertained. Let you know that you're enjoying this stream. Much appreciated, guys. Make sure you check our link out. It's on the Twitch channel. Go to our homepage at ANZCRL on the Twitch and you'll see the little link. Click on that and that'll take you to our website and you can see all the information for the Australian New Zealand sim races out there. And likewise, this will end up being uploaded to our YouTube channel and all the links are on our YouTube channel as well. So John Slow there, we thought that he was going to need to come into the pits and he has. So he has now surrendered that spot to Dado Racer. And he will be trying to limit his damage now and stay on that lead lap if he can. Let's see where Gunner is. Wadey just goes by to put himself on the same, no, not the same lap. He's actually still a lap down, but Gunner's coming around the later half of the circuit. So John Slow is still on the lead lap. So that's good to see that we've still got the 6 cars. But now this is the story. We're going to see John Slow trying to challenge. There's the old magic 10-minute marker, guys. I always say it lights up, and it's going to light up because we know John Slow has gone in for his fuel and maybe some tyre. I don't think he would have got tyres actually, but here we go. We're looking to see that John Slow may challenge Dado Racer for 5th position to get in the top 5. Thanks, Rishi. Hey, and you entertained the crew as well watching because you were part of this, buddy. Out on track until that engine blowing up, giving away on that McLaren of yours. But here we go. So 5th position for Dado. How long can he hold it? Time will tell. And we've also got Jay Barrett lapping 2 seconds a lap faster than Bo Kane each lap. I've been keeping an eye on that sneaky look. And it's now within 10 seconds. So time is on Jay Barrett's side to get up into 2nd position. So here we go. We've got a battle for 2nd and a battle for 5th position. There's a choice for you 8 viewers that are out there. Start typing. I can see there's 8 of you. Start doing it. Who's going to win out here in the 2nd position? Will it be the Porsche of Bo or will it be the Nissan of Jay Barrett for 2nd position? And then if you want to continue on that, who's going to take the 5th spot? Dado Racer in the Mercedes or the McLaren of John Slow? So there's your little thing that you can give me a little bit of feedback, your little contribution to your viewership. And let us know who you think. Will it be this man, John Slow, in the top 5? He's got 6 seconds, 6.5 seconds to put on Dado Racer. And Jay Barrett is currently in 3rd, trying to get 2nd on Bo Kane, and he's doing 2 seconds a lap faster. And we're predicting another 3 laps roughly of this race, so he's going to be right on his tail. Oh, there's one for John to get into the top 5. Yes, time is going to be the essence. But also, when they catch these drivers, they've got to pass them. And when it's going to come down to probably the last lap, these drivers are going to make sure that their car is as wide as the track. So Bo, he's not looking at his mirrors yet, but it won't be long. He's got that 8-second margin on Jack. with 6.5 minutes remaining, plus whatever lap needs to be completed once this timer runs out. What a run we've seen from Bo. I have to give it to him. At the moment, I'll say if Jay Barrett gets Bo for second, Jay Barrett will be the driver of the day, in my opinion. Outstanding run will be obviously this man, Gunner. Hasn't put his foot wrong. If he has, we haven't seen it. And he is absolutely blitzing this field. A 30-second margin to Bo. And that's... He's off the pace, Gunner, at the moment. He's slowed down. He's got that margin. He doesn't have to do anything silly. He's doing the 220s. But look at Jay Barrett. Jay Barrett with a 217.947. That is that is not the fastest lap, but it's almost there, I think. We saw Gunner with a 217.9 flat, so that's why I got so excited. I knew it was close. 5 thousandths of a second slower, 500ths of a second, I think, slower, you might call it, from to Gunner. So there was nothing in there. So Jay Barrett on the fly now. 7 seconds the margin between him and Bo Kane. This is the man that's driving as fast as he can, trying to beat this time. 5 minutes remaining, guys. When you think about it, Rishi, it is unbelievable. These drivers have been driving hard for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and he pops out almost the fastest lap of the race. Jay Barrett in this Nissan Nismo 201. But Nissan Motorsports is absolutely flying for this second position. He's got Pixel Boy. He wants Pixel out of the way. He doesn't want to get held up. No flash of the lights from Jay Barrett. He's not one of those flashes, I don't think. 5 seconds the margin, 4 minutes remaining. We're going for a distance record, I think, in this race. I'll check that. The driver that could have done it would have been Colonel Lloyd back in 2020 when he took the whole race almost by a full lap. I think it was close to that. I'll let you guys know very shortly as we get into the closing stages of this race. So Colonel Lloyd did 62 laps back in 2020 in the McLaren 650S, and he Dredd 501 was the only other driver to be on the same lap. Only, I think it was roughly 15 seconds or so in front, or 15 seconds in front of Colonel Lloyd before he went down a lap. So Lloydie almost lapped the whole field in that race. And that race we had 8 finishes out of 11 starters. So there you go. So 62 laps is the race record. And we have got Gunner coming around. He's on lap 60. I think we're only going to get to 61 because he'll have one more lap to go. So there you go. So we're going to have one more lap. So these guys have got a lap and a half. And you can see Jay Barrett in the background fighting for second position. We got John Slow, I think. How close is he now to Dado Racer? He's within 2 seconds. So here we go. We had the bets for John Slow to be in the top 5. And he has got himself just under 2 laps to do that. So this is a little bit closer than Jay Barrett and Bo at the moment. This man chasing hard on Dado. Dado in this Mercedes. He's had a good run, and it'll be a cruel defeat for Dado if he can't hold this 5th position. He's going to make sure that John works every inch for it. As will Bo for second position. We'll keep an eye. So there we go. So there's the gap. There's nothing in it these guys either. The Gunner's on. Oh, Bo's in the pit lane. He won't get to the end. We knew that he was marginal. 3.2 litres, that's a cruel blow for this man. Just not getting there at the end. So Jay Barrett into second position. VGA Philly will be on the podium. But let's not forget these guys on their battle here for 5th position. So where is Gunner? So Gunner's coming around through the Lecompte corners down into Rivage, turn 8. So this is his final lap. So Bo Kane in pit lane. Still in pit lane. He's got there for a long time. He hasn't been able to change his settings. I think he's going to hold on though. These guys are coming hard. So I was just going to say that he wants to get going. He only needed a splash and dash, but he's been there for a while. But here we go. They're going to have one more lap. Dado Racer and Gunner. So we'll be able to catch them up. But here we go. See, we'll keep an eye here, Dado. You never know what's going on. This is their last lap here. And look at John Slow. Oh, Dado's tyres are worn. He's got no grip. He's got no grip. So John Slow's been able to easily, with that late pit stop that John had to do as well, has just been able to have that tyre advantage or look after his tyres a lot more and just made it easy. But look at this. Bo has just come out of pit lane, and if you're talking about dangling a carrot in front of John's nose, there it is, of the Porsche of Bo. So Bo needs to make sure that he has a steady head this last lap, and here we go for the win of the race. It's this man, Gun 180, in the number 77 Asgrada Mercedes-Benz. Great victory for this man. Outstanding victory here. 61 laps, 1 lap short of the race record. But well done to this man as it kicks over to lap 62, because that's the lap I think he may be on. But this man here will come home in second. But let's have a look at Bo Kane quickly and John Slow. But well done to Jay Barrett, the first of the Nissans. Come home in second position. Good job from him. And VGA Philly for the Veterans Game in Australia. Well done to this man. The man that's won 2 in a row. He couldn't make it 3, but he got on the podium. Well done to John. And let's have a look. Bo Kane is the still in front here of John Slow. I don't think John Slow's got anything left in the tank. Probably literally nothing in the tank either. Lloydie's just come in after who's got the most race with the most laps. It's you, Lloydie. We just mentioned it earlier. You got 62 laps. And I believe that these drivers only got 61 done in the race. So as Gunner went over the line, it went to 62, showing that he's on his 62nd lap. So there you go, Lloydie. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Oh no, Bo Kane's gone deep. John Slow, where is he? Oh, if he was within striking distance, but Bo is just going to get home in 4th position after running deep into the bus stop chicane. Well done to the Porsche driver of Bo. Outstanding run there in the end from Bo. John Slow. Bo and John Slow. There you go. But it's this man. Looks like he's blown his engine from all the donuts he's done. So is this man. They've all blown their engines. We've missed all the donuts, but Wade is finished. Dado Race is the last driver on the lead lap. Now, is he nearly out of fuel? I think he's out of fuel. We got 1.1 litres of fuel. I think he's clutched it, so he's just on the 0.9 of. Look at the fuel numbers going down for Dado. He's just got over the line for 6th position with 0.4 of a litre of fuel, if we're correct in all those timings. But there you go on the record. We have got Gun 180, 1st position. Well done with a 2:17.9 flat. Jay Barrett in 2nd position, 27 seconds behind. And he did a 2:17.947, so close. And that was late in the race as well. VGA Philly, so 2 Nissans on the podium. Well done to him. And the Porsche came home in 4th, only just after he ran hot into the bus stop chicane. The gap, the margin was only 1.5 seconds between him and John Slow for 4th. So well done to John to finish in the top 5. Dado Racer ran that race, won at less pit stop, so he was fuel conserving. That is the reason why I think that he could not put a fight up with John Slow, as he finished over the line with 0.4 of a litre, guys. So if it went in one extra lap, that would have been the end for Dado. Wadey in 7th position, well done for him. Zach 18 in 8th position, good job from him with a 21-second penalty. Tell you what, lucky he was a lap in front of Pixel Boy. Pixel might have got that 8th position. And Brenny in 10th, so top 10 from Brenny. Well done to Brenny. What a good race he had. And I believe he was in the McLaren, I think it was. Let's bring up Brenny. Yes, he was in the number 4 McLaren Racing. So well done. And Pillick in the second of the Porsches in 11th, and Unicorn running his own race, 5 laps down in 12th in the McLaren. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. That's been the race for 2023. And we look forward to bringing you the next special event, the Imola 4 Hours on Saturday the 23rd of September, which is a 2-hour race. It's not as long as this one. 2 hours with ×2 time progression. And that's going to feature the mighty GT1 cars. So you don't want to miss them. You've got the likes of the McLaren F1 GTR, the Mercedes-Benz CLK LM, the Nissan R390, and the Porsche 911 GT1. So while we sit here, guys, let me have a look to see if we can bring in the race winner, Mr. Gunner. Welcome, Gunnar. Congratulations on your fine victory here at the Spa 2.4, the inaugural one here for ANZCRL, and you did it in the same car you ran second at the Bathurst 12 Hour in that Mercedes-Benz of yours. How did your race go?
Oh, look, it was great. It went a lot better than I thought it was going to. Pretty fatigued at the end of that one, both physically and mentally. Yeah, but stoked. I really didn't think it'd go that way, and I wasn't really sure until that last pit stop. And once I had the lead, and I knew I was home safe, I could back off a little bit and cruise to victory. It was good.
Yeah, you claimed the fastest lap of the race as well, so well done. But you only just, Jay Barrett in that Nissan was coming hard at the end of that race, and he was fighting obviously for second position, which he ended up getting. After the Porsche driver had to come in for a late pit stop, and so that guaranteed him the second position. But he was just a little bit slower than you, and you did a 2:17 point flat, I think it was almost. So that was a good lap.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, there was some fast guys out there, and I was definitely watching that gap to Jay Barrett. It was just a bit of a shame that the Nissan's a bit of a gas guzzler, so I probably had to have slightly longer pit stops than I did.
Yeah, definitely. All right, mate. So, yeah, very tired races out there, and also 61 laps, I think, completed. The race lap record is 62.
Some very tired cars out there too. Everybody was complaining of brake issues. Even my pit crew was telling me to come in and fix them.
Right, okay, so no one had stopped for obviously brake repairs, so that's interesting as well to see that the brakes were becoming an issue. But we had a lot of support for you, Gunnar, as a driver as well, so a lot of guys were barracking for you, so a good run, and you had a little bit of support there on the stream, so congratulations, mate. And I'll let you go because obviously you want to...
those guys for cheering me on too. Thank you.
Exactly, mate. So we look forward to seeing you again in action on Monday night with Gravel Trap Legends, mate. So have a good break. Enjoy Sunday, and we'll see you at the next one, Gunnar.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
See ya. So that'll do it, guys. So thank you again. Massive thank you for all you guys that stuck it out and enjoyed the race. Thanks, Keza, for all your support, especially also for your man, Zach 18, and everyone. Thanks, The Logical, Brenny, I'm glad you enjoyed that race, mate. Rishi, all the best, mate, for next time. And also look forward to also seeing the Avenger Gamer sim racer as well. Mitch back on track for the new series of the V8 Supercars. So there you go. My name's been Neil Haynes, known as Woody Lizard in the sim world, here for ANZ Combined Racing League. I hope you enjoyed that race. Until next time, cheerio.